Hey, this is Gene, Rucksack Revolution. We're doing the podcast tonight, and one of these days I'm going to time that intro music segue really good with where it says, start broadcast on my screen, and every time it's an adventure, that's for sure. But anyway, so I'm here tonight on Rucksack Revolution with Brianna, Brianna Moore. When I was on my road trip, the Elvisburger road trip, I spent actually I got 8 days or something in St. Genevieve, Missouri, which is a very historic little town many of you may not have heard of. It was kind of like the first settled, when Europeans came over. Obviously, there were settlements in the West because there were Native Americans. But when the Europeans came over, I think it was like the first really settled community west of the Mississippi. And so it's just a town full of history. Like all the buildings downtown, it's like, this is the oldest brick building west of the Mississippi. This is the oldest, outhouse west of the Mississippi. This is the oldest, pickup truck west of the Mississippi, or God knows what. But it's pretty cool. You're a little mushy talking. Can you get a little closer to your mic?
Yeah, I said I'm in a house right now that's 200 years old.
Are you serious? 200-year-old house?
Mm-hmm. And where the bathroom
this is 2020, so that would be 1820. 1820, huh?
Yep. Where the bathroom is now, it used to be the porch because there was no indoor plumbing. So you can you can see the little add-ons that they did over the years. It's really cool.
Wow, that is really wow. So y'all, Brianna is a musician, and when I was there, I guess it was I think it was my first night in town, or maybe it was the second. There's a woman there, Chris Alex, she likes to go by. She has a place called Music Art Love. It's this little kind of boutique art studio gathering place. She likes to do stuff where she just opened her business. She's only been open a few months, right?
Yeah, it was probably a month before you showed up is about when she opened.
Right. That's what Gretchen was telling me, that she just got this place. And of course, the space she's in is like, there's like caveman drawings on the wall because it's so old. And so, yeah, she likes to do these gatherings. Does she do stuff like what, every Saturday night basically now, or?
Yeah. And, and sometimes she'll throw things in the middle of the week too. A lot of the times her singer-songwriter showcase is on the middle of the week, like on Wednesdays. So.
Yeah, she moved there, and I'd like to get her on the show too. You tell her that. I'm friends with her on Facebook. I'm going to get a hold of her, but I would love to hear a story because Chris Alex was a flight attendant for like something like 31 years or something. And so she retired from that, got this place. And so she uses it not just to, finance her living, but also so that people like Brianna and other folks have a place to play music, to get together, to network, to do whatever. And usually there's a complimentary glass of wine or two that gets involved. So it's really, really nice. And I'd love to have her on the show. Huh?
She had a dream and she got the means and she followed it.
Yeah, first night, Gretchen was like, dude, you gotta see this, you gotta meet this person, and so I go, and Brianna was like there was 2 or 3 guitar players there that night, and of course I had my drums, so I showed up, and Brianna was one of the people playing, and as soon as Brianna started playing, she's not gonna play tonight, but another time, but as soon as she started playing, I knew that I was in the presence of like an artist. There's like, I like to say in music, and I think this goes with a lot of things, but in music, there are like performers or entertainers, and then there are like artists, and they do overlap. You can be both. But, there's the kind of person, and no disrespect to anyone intended, but they're the people that kind of make music to, sell records, and that's it, make some money, and it's kind of trite. Hey, I love you, baby. Yeah, I love you, baby. Yeah, I love you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Or it's, whatever it is. And then there's people that really just put their heart and soul into what they're doing. And if they do their own music, which Brianna does do originals, their heart and soul is present. And even when they do a cover tune, they like possess it. They make it their own. This guy that I'm playing with right now, Adam Roundtree, he's a longtime friend of mine. I'm playing with him on one Thursday night a month for like an open mic jam thing. And then every Friday night we're playing at a friend's local establishment. It's kind of a sandwich shop, a little bar in it, whatever. And he's very similar when he does a cover tune. Sometimes he plays cover tunes that they don't sound like the tune he's playing. Like we did Scarlet Begonias by the Grateful Dead one night a few weeks ago. And it's like, that's one of my favorite Grateful Dead tunes. Like I just know that song in my sleep. And so he starts playing guitar and I start drumming alongside him. And I have no idea. I thought he was going to play an original. I didn't know what he was playing. I was just kind of going with the flow, picking up a rhythm. And suddenly, like 4 minutes in, I realized, holy crap, he's playing Scarlet Begonias and I'm not even in the right rhythm. Right. And then we kind of blend into it and end up there. And and of course, the Grateful Dead is famous for playing that way anyways. They have what they call space music, where they're just kind of jamming and then it just sort of becomes one of their songs. It was like that. But so you're very similar like that. You can own someone else's song. You can like make it yours when you play it, which is cool. Like, Eddie Van Halen just died, the great guitarist. And some people used to rag on the band Van Halen because they played a lot of cover tunes. So some of their biggest hits were actually cover tunes. And the truth though is they made them their own. They didn't sound bad.
There's something that's super special about a song being made, and when they capture, what's captured within a set of lyrics is something that can be taken really personally. And a lot of the times when somebody makes it, I mean, it's worth repeating and it's worth singing again. So there's a certain greatness to covers that I think that people don't quite.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, think about the Cranberry song "Zombie" that just got redone. And
who redid it?
I can't think of the guy's name for nothing. I feel because I've seen it come across my music, so I would know if I saw it. But
that's a great song. We last Friday night when Adam and I played, we had some friends down, and it became a little bit of an open mic. We had two different women that sat in with us and sang, and we had another guy that plays bass that showed up and kind of played a set with us. And one of the two women, her name is Fariza. Fariza sang "Zombie," and we played it. Cool. And it was great. I love that song. I like that rhythm. Bomb, 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 bomb. You know how it goes. I probably just didn't do a good. I just went bomb, 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 bomb. That's like that doesn't help. Yeah. Believe it or not, I used to play a little bass when I was younger in the Army. I play a little bass. I would never. I don't know. There's a couple songs. If someone maybe forced me, like knife point or gun point, to get up in public and play with a band, I might think about it. There's a couple of. I could probably "Cocaine" by Eric Clapton's a pretty easy bass tune. I could do that, or a couple of Stones songs I know. But I wouldn't be getting up and playing no Rush or nothing like that.
Right.
I was a terrible bass player.
When you were talking about the bass, it made me giggle because the only time that I played the bass was when I was coaxed to get on stage and play with a band. And the only way that I was able to follow, I was 16 years old, but the only way that I was able to get up and follow them was with the bass. So I learned Everlong by Foo Fighters.
Yeah, I love Foo Fighters. I love the Foo Fighters. I actually, Dave Grohl. He was in, Nirvana with,
right.
He was in Nirvana, and of course Nirvana is the really, famous grunge band. But to be honest, I like Foo Fighters better than I like Nirvana.
I do too. Actually, right now, when I make playlists that, have any of that kind of music on it, I'll skip the Nirvanas and I'll put all the Foo Fighters.
Yeah, I love Foo Fighters. I mean, Nirvana had some good tunes. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying they were overrated, but I was a Pearl Jam guy. Pearl Jam was big at the same time. I was more into Pearl Jam. And then you ever heard Temple of the Dog?
No, I sure haven't, but that might be one that I hear it and I'm like, oh, those guys,
Yeah, because grunge kind of came out of Seattle. So there was Nirvana, the big ones. There was like Nirvana, Soundgarden, and Pearl Jam were kind of the three big ones that they made it huge, right? They're household names. And about that time, Chris Cornell from Soundgarden He later on was with Audio Slave, I think. Yeah. Which was Rage Against the Machine minus Zach singing leads.
Right.
I heard Rage is coming back. They're getting back together. They're going to do an album.
Good. Glad to hear it. Ooh,
I'm
I would
saying,
love to
dude.
hear what's about to come out of that.
I love Rage. But yeah, they come up a little closer to your mic. You're a little mushy.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I hear you perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, like if you're an old man like me and I made you lean like that, your back would hurt. But you're young and spry and, right?
I guess. All day. I'm all kinds of in shape.
What do you do for a living?
I make windows.
You make windows?
Yeah, there's a window factory here in town.
There's a window. I never heard of a window. I always wonder, where do windows come from? Tell us about window factories. I've never met a window factory person.
It is like completely streamlined. Like one line makes the frame, one line makes the sash, which is the moving part of the window, and then another line makes the frame shape. What
do you do there?
I'm on the glazing line, which is where the glass goes into the frame.
Oh.
So I picked up the pieces of glass and I put them in.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, so Temple of the Dog was kind of a side project. It was Chris Cornell was the singer, and I can't remember now. I guess Eddie Vedder was in the band. It was some of the guys from Pearl Jam were in the band with Chris Cornell, and they made this album. The group was called Temple of the Dog, and they did one album, and I can't remember the name of it now. Maybe it was self-titled. And it had it had some great songs. I used to own the CD. It was an awesome album.
I'm gonna look that up for sure.
Just look up Temple of the Dog, and it's a great it's just it was a great album, definitely. But anyway, so let's talk about your music a little bit. Like what inspires you to play? What is the thing like when you there's people that whether they're sitting at home plunking on a guitar or maybe they actually go out and play gigs, but they're what inspires you? What is the thing that like when you pick up that guitar or you go to write a song that like lights that flame in you? What keeps that flame going?
Gene, I'm a singer to my core. It's how I think. I'll get it's everything that I want to say. I mean, there's words, lyrics, and music that feels like it's coming out of my pores all the time. And when I pick up a guitar, I get to articulate it. And it's such a relief of frustration of all kinds. And not to mention, it sings the sound of my soul in a way that nothing else can approach.
What was that? Did you just say it sings the sound of my soul?
Exactly what I said.
See, that was like poetry right there. It sings the sound of my soul. I might have to steal that from you. There's a saying in preaching and in blues music. There's a saying in preaching and blues that if you can play the lick well, it's not stealing. I learned that. I think it was Eric Clapton said that in an interview once. So they were asking him how they asked Eric Clapton, a guitar player, in this interview, like how he got his sound, and he was actually doing the interview with like a guitar in his hand, and he plays this little thing, and he says, well, the beginning of that was like Howlin' Wolf, and the end of that was Muddy Waters, and that little thing in between that put them together was me. Right. And someone said, so you stole their lick, and he said something like, it ain't stealing if you can play it well.
That's completely interesting. Let me tell you, the first time that I wrote a song, what I did was, I was 15. I was 14 or 15.
Now, how old are you now?
I'm 27.
27. So we're talking 12 years ago, 13 years ago.
Yep.
Okay.
I learned to play the guitar at 13, and then a couple years later, I actually spent a year in military school, and there was enough drama there to get my gears going enough to write a song, right?
Okay, I gotta ask. There's only two reasons why people go to military school. Either A, like you come from a super military family or something, or B, you were a problem child and they shipped you off. So which one was it? Were you into going, or was it like we're sending you to military school to get your mind right.
Yeah. Well, I don't come from a military family, so.
Hey, that's okay. That's part of being an artist. If you fit right in, sometimes I think it's hard to really be an
I was
artist.
completely out of my comfort zone, and that's where I started writing music. That's when I was pushed to a point where, you know, I had to find a way to express myself, and that was it. And how I did it was I took "Hanging by a Moment" by Lifehouse, and I wiped the lyrics and I replaced them. And then I looked like later, like a couple of weeks later, and I picked up the lyrics again, and I just sang them to my own tune. And that's how my first song was written.
That's cool. That's cool. You know, when I I wrote when I was, you know, I do a lot of, well, I do music, but I do spoken word. And my first experience with like poetry, my dad had an old typewriter. This is back when I was like 7. And it ended up in my room, and it's gonna sound really dorky. I was such a dweeby little kid. I was like 7, and I played Little League, and I you know, went out and played football and all the things us kids did. But I had this typewriter in my room, and I had a collection of it was called Reader's Digest Condensed Children's Classics. So it was like stories like I don't know, Wuthering Heights was in it, The Odyssey by Homer, but it was like the condensed version. It was more like for kids. It still was serious reading. I mean, it wasn't like a picture book, but it was you know, more for kids. And one of them was like great, I think it was called Great American Poetry or something. So like Walt Whitman was in there, and Carl Sandburg and Emily Dickinson. And I would actually, not the long poems, but the shorter ones, like Emily Dickinson, for example. You know, her poems are really short. I would be at home, like say if it was a rainy day or something, and I would be on this typewriter at 7, 8 years old, typing the poems out of the book. Like, how dorky is that when you're like a 7, 8-year-old kid?
That's actually kind of cool. I get it. You really just appreciated the spoken word.
I was like doing cover poems at 7 years old. And then I wrote a poem, and I wish I still had it. It was like about astronomy, basically, because I when I was a kid, I loved astronomy, and I wanted to be an astronaut and all this stuff. And I guess we had to write a poem for a school project in 5th grade.
Right.
And the best ones got put like on display in the school library or something like that. Right. And one of mine the one I wrote got picked, and my mom was like, "Oh, you thought I won the Nobel Prize for Literature." She was so proud of me. Right. I don't really remember anything about the poem. I wish I had a copy. I don't have it now. And then when I was in the Army, I was on a motorcycle road trip, long story short, in West Kansas in like at Christmas time. I mean, we're talking, imagine I'm on a motorcycle trip from Colorado into Kansas and back. Like, we're talking the week between like Christmas and New Year's. So like the weather it's cold, right? And I was in a little town called Goodland, Kansas. It's on the interstate in West Kansas, not too far into Kansas from Colorado. Maybe, gosh, it's about 20, 30 miles. I don't know. And a very small, like a little farm town. And I was there overnight, and I was in a diner, and I wrote a poem called White Lines. And it was about the white lines in the highway. And I still have that poem. I'm working on a collection of poetry now, and I'm going to have to put it in there. And that was when I was 21 when I wrote that. And but it was like, I was writing cover poems basically, like you were doing. And then I ended up writing one of my own, and then going from there. It did. I was just sitting there. I was just thinking about how riding my motorcycle in the cold, and just the white lines. And there was a line about how they're like my only friend, don't know where they're coming from, don't know where they end, blah, 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 and I wanted to go to Goodland on my road trip, but to be blunt, I said that I watched a video the other day myself. I say to be blunt a lot.
Well, that's better than other things people say, so just carry that on with you.
True. This show should be called "To Be Blunt." But I when I was leaving Colorado, Colorado's legal, and my car, it smelled like cannabis, to be honest. And
Well,
in
my
West
mom-
Kansas, if you have an East Coast tag like Florida and you come out of Colorado into Kansas, I don't care if you're going the speed limit. I don't care if all your lights were. It does not matter. They're going to find a reason to pull you over. And if the dog would have smelled weed, whether it was weed in the car or not is irrelevant. They would have torn my car apart. So I went all the way back down and came through Texas and Oklahoma and whatever to avoid Kansas. But I really wanted to go to Goodland. I wanted to go back to this town to to where I wrote that poem. I wanted to try to find the diner again. Actually, I think it was right off the interstate. It was. I met the mayor's daughter in that town when I was there.
Well, something
She worked at
tells me that there is enough of a story there to find its end. The other shoe.
Yeah, there was an A&W root beer stand in that town, and I went there, and the mayor's daughter, like they came out on roller skates. I think it was like old school. And anyway, so I met her. She was working there, and we ended up hanging out. She wanted to hang out with me all afternoon, and we were gonna go bowling or something. And I kind of like let it go because I could tell. I mean, I think she wanted a little hanky panky. I think she wanted to mess around with that boy from out of town, kind of thing. Yeah. And I didn't want complications like hooking up with the mayor's daughter. You know what I mean? Was not in the. That wasn't in the game plan. So I kind of, no. But
not go bowling.
Yeah, but she took me around town. I got to see the whole town, and we hung out for a couple hours, and it was pretty cool. And I wanted to go back and see it, but I wasn't going through Kansas.
Right, priorities.
But next road, we'll see each other again because I'm gonna do another road trip one day down the road, and I am going to Goodland, Kansas again in my life. That is a bucket list thing. And last time I checked, Missouri is in between Kansas and Florida. So I'm coming back to St. Genevieve for sure. There's no.
I was gonna say, we'll make one stat Gretchen if you never did.
Oh man, Gretchen. See, Gretchen and I have known each other. We used to work at a nightclub together. I was the head cook, and she was a server. I've known Gretchen since something like. Well, I actually knew her there before I worked there. My ex-wife and I used to go there on Friday nights. They had a seafood buffet thing. Right. And we used to go and have the seafood buffet because this place was like a total nightclub after 9 p.m. And before 9, it was a little more like a restaurant. But we would go and have happy hour and go have the buffet and have a couple of beers and, unwind after the week. And Gretchen was one of the servers there. And about a year later or 6 months later, I started working there. But I've known Gretchen since, like 1990, 1991.
Right.
Something like that. Like we go way, way back. And so she's known me like continuously longer than actually maybe anybody I know. Like I have friends from high school. I have friends I grew up with here in town, but and I've known them maybe the last 10 years. I lost touch with a lot of people. Yeah. But I didn't know them. Like I haven't known them continuously through my adult life. Like I first met her, I wasn't even 30 years old yet. I'm 57 now. I was 27, maybe 27 years old when I met her. And so yeah, she's known me. I hate to say it, she probably knows me better than just about any human being on earth. Like she can tell you stories about me, so don't go ask her. Don't.
All right.
She'll tell you some funny shit that I've done in my life. I'll tell you right now. She'll also tell you I used to be able to do one of the best. The movie Tombstone? The Western? Yeah. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, greatest Western ever, in my opinion. Doc Holliday. If you give me, I got to practice. I'm out of practice. But used to be, if you gave me a bourbon or two to sip on, I could do Doc Holliday from that movie cold. Like you thought, I didn't look like him, but I sounded like him. I'd be like, yeah, I'm your Huckleberry. I can't even come close now. But she could tell you. She's been there when I've done it. Oh my gosh. I was so good at it. You know the scene in the movie when Johnny Ringo comes in and Wyatt Earp is dealing cards and Doc Holliday's playing poker and his girlfriend's there and Johnny Ringo comes in and they have that whole scene where they were talking Latin to each other And Johnny Ringo pulled out his guns and he's doing all the fancy stuff. And then Doc Holliday had that little like shot glass, whatever, with the handle, and he pulled that out and did the same thing with his little, like whiskey cup. Gretchen and a friend of hers, both, they wanted to find me a little cup just like Doc Holliday's because they wanted me to learn the routine to go along with my imitation, so I could, because they were like, you gotta be able to do it with the thing. They never found a whiskey cup like that for me. I have one, but it's a little bigger.
Right.
And it's actually my baby milk cup. And it has a little copper or something. It was my milk cup when I was a little baby. It has my name on it, and it's one of the only things I have from childhood.
No, that's pretty cool.
I do occasionally. I have been known to drink bourbon neat out of it now.
Your milk cup.
Out of my little metal. It's like a little metal tiny coffee mug thing. It'll hold probably. You might be able to put 3 shots in it.
Now,
Definitely.
If I had a little cup from childhood that had my name on it, I would shoot all of my liquor out of it. Just saying.
I've got it. It holds up the front end of one of my model rockets now. I used to build model rockets when I was a kid, and I started building them again about 5 years ago. And I built a few, and one of them, instead of being like a rocket that would stand up straight, it's kind of like a space plane. It's called the Interceptor. And so I have it up on display, and so I use my little milk bourbon cup sort of to hold the nose up so you can see it. I got to find something else to use so I can drink out of my cup. Definitely. I'm going to have that through life, I think. It's the only thing I have from childhood. I don't have any photos, nothing. The youngest photo I have of myself is from 10 years old.
Strange.
I Facebook friend a woman here in town named Mary Ann. I don't know, man, it was some months ago. And I just saw we had common friends and she looked cool. And I was like, I'll send her a friend request. So I did. And I didn't realize one morning I wake up about maybe 6 weeks ago and look on my phone, and she had sent me our 5th grade class photo.
Did you post it?
Yes. I'm that dorky kid in the middle, She was the little blonde girl sitting at the front of my row, and she was the best looking girl in class, and I wouldn't even talk to her because I was the biggest geek, and I still wasn't sure at 10th grade if girls didn't have cooties or not anyways. And so anyways, she had the photo and she sent it to me, and I was so thankful. And we talk once in a while now. We went out and hung out and had some queso and chips the other day. Caught up on old times, and I told her, I said, I'm just so thankful for her to do that. I don't have any pictures from that young, and so that was really cool of her. And she told me I used to make her laugh all the time in class, right. And I'm just thinking, like, I thought I'm surprised. I was the biggest dweeb. I got picked on a lot, and here, the cutest girl in class. Actually, I made her laugh. Who knows? I could have gone to the school dance with her or something. I don't know. But I still was playing with my GI Joes and stuff. But anyways,
you'll never find out till later, huh? All right. Well, I am going to get on down the road here.
Okay, we're gonna make this a short one. Yeah, we'll do a short podcast tonight. What? I got to come up with a question for you.
Go for it.
Trying to think of a good one. What is a good? Who do you think's going to win the election next week?
I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
Nor do
I'm gonna do a. Huh?
I'm making a solid point. I mean, it's not my circus. There's not my monkeys, and I don't feel like I have enough information. Because all the information that we do get isn't right. It's just not real. It was fabricated one way or the other, both ways, always. It's fabricated. So the only thing I can do is watch.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna wind it up. I got a little pizza here. I'm gonna eat because what better to do after 9 workouts in 11 days than get fat? So I'm gonna have these 2 pieces of the Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut isn't really pizza, but it's good.
Yep.
I like pizza. I haven't had any in probably 6 months. So here it is, man. It's a Supreme. It's got all the stuff on it. It's been around a while. Look, it doesn't even fall off, right? It's not a day old though. It's only maybe a couple hours old. But look at that, and you thump the back, and nothing falls off.
Oh my!
Look at that. I know. Well, a little. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. A couple little things fell off. So, anyways, I'm gonna do that. Have my Coors Light, and you take it easy.
McDonald's and coffee, so we're not doing much better over here.
All right then. All right, goody. And oh man, I left my gig Friday night, and I messed up. I hit the Checker Burger. Do you guys have Checkers or Rallies or any of that where you're at?
They in St. Louis we do. When I was a kid, there was one.
I hit the Checker Burger on the way home.
Yeah.
I got 2 big Bufords and an extra large fry, and I ate them all sitting in bed. And then I laid in bed from 1 a.m. till 4:30 with a stomach ache. I was if you would have poked my belly, the Pillsbury Doughboy, I would have exploded. I just would have Big Buford all over the walls of the room. It would have been horrible. I was Big Buford. I became Big Buford. So I got to be careful about that.
Right.
Yeah. So hey,
feeling great about fast food now.
we're gonna get you on again, and we're gonna do some music, and so somewhere down the road. And in the meantime, you take care. I want you to keep composing music. I really like to encourage younger artists. When I say, I know you're 27, but I'm 57. So I got 40, 30, can't even do math, 30 years on you. And that doesn't make me any better or any wiser, but it does mean that I've seen a lot of musicians in my life. And I've seen some that some are not talented and not creative. And they're just kind of going through the motions. And some of them might even be making some money, but they're just going through the motions. They're entertainers. And then I've seen some people that are very talented who are not very creative. And then I've seen people who are very talented and very creative. And you are one of those people.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the encouragement. It means a lot, and it makes a difference. It means that it'll, every little bit that comes brings it further to fruition. And
yeah, we're gonna get you into. I got some people I know in Memphis. Nobody in the music business down there though, but Memphis and up in St. Louis. But we gotta get you out there definitely. Yeah. Anyways, hey, you want to get in the last word? Anything good you got to say? Give everybody a blessing. Give us the good word.
Goodness, well, God bless everybody watching, and super glad that people are getting out and listening to other people's words and minds. It's caring about each other and reaching out to each other is about the most important thing we can do in this life. So God bless everybody for doing it.
All right, man. Okay, let me just do my sponsors real quick. This is the best part of the show because I always make stuff up as I go. First one up here is Scarlett Kofer. She's an artist, among other things, and I would love for you to meet her one day. Her husband is a Marine at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. Okay. And David's Delicious Delight. Do you like cheesecake?
Everybody likes cheesecake. I don't know if that's
right on. Well, David makes great cheesecake. And this is Warren Tidwell, Hometown Action. He's in Auburn, Alabama, and they do a lot of good stuff, social justice stuff. They do a lot of stuff helping folks out. And so anyway, so I'm going to wrap this up and eat this. Like I said, watch this. You can even hold it upside down and nothing falls off. Even now. It's good now. Anyway, so I'm out of here. You're out of here, and I'll talk to you later. Take it easy. Bye.